Hello. My presentation is over a study compiled by Princeton University's Marcus Pryor, How the Increase in Choice of Media Widens Gaps in Political Knowledge and Voter Turnout. Pryor's theory begins with the creation of the television, and its hasty transformation into the most powerful mass medium in history. In the 1970s, for example, cable television was in its infancy, resulting in low diversification of programming, ultimately limiting the viewer's ability to choose shows they preference to watch. For decades, network scheduling was like this. It created what Pryor calls a low-choice environment. This environment ruled out situations where viewers had to choose between entertainment programming and news programming. Swing forward to today, and we see this low-choice environment eroded by seemingly infinite channels, platforms, and vectors of mass media. Pryor calls this a high-choice environment. This phenomena, viewership by preference, creates an environment that is detrimental to news, the spread of information, and most importantly, democratic functions like voter turnout. This transformation into a new environment has many effects on society. Most notably, Pryor suggests, is its creation of a gap between the politically informed and the politically ignorant. This gap was created when people were given the ability to freely choose what they wanted to watch in accordance to their personal preference. In the past, if people were glued to the television, eventually, because of the lack of program diversity, they would stumble upon news. Despite modest political interest, people would watch television news because it was convenient. This lack of choice made it rational for a viewer to watch program news, because it was the best show available to them. Once exposed to this news, people learned politics. They might not learn as much as one who is in fact interested in politics, but something of substance was learned, and some amount of knowledge was exchanged. Pryor coins this phrase as accidental exposure. This world we live in today is full of distractions, or alternatives to gaining political knowledge. This is present in the rawest of new media, the internet. Much like television, the internet is a high-choice environment, with seemingly infinite choices of entertainment and news sites. The internet helps pry open our society, or widen the gap of democracy even more. With the invention of smartphones, laptops, and wireless internet, entertainment and news no longer is restricted to leisure time. 24/7 one can be playing games, watching cat videos, or studying information. The environment we live in today puts democratic functions on the shoulders of people's preferences. The current decrease in voting and political action exemplifies this power of choice people currently have. It's much easier to stay politically lethargic in today's media environment. And being politically lethargic leads to lower voter turnout, because the public do not hold the information required to distinguish the candidates from each other, which leads to the abstention of votes. Pryor's theory is tested upon two studies, one done by himself and another an analysis of NES Pew poll data. The first study, Pryor compiled, is a series of tests and surveys, done in a 2-year span, asking questions like who were the last presidential candidates, and who is your television provider. This study directly agreed with his theory. He says that once people obtain access to new media, content preference becomes a powerful predictor of turnout. The second study is Pryor's analysis of information available through the NES and Pew poll research centers. This study, Pryor collected and analyzed information relevant to media, voter turnout, and political knowledge, and relevance to the use of technologies. This study, as before, showed that political knowledge and voter turnout regress because of access to cable, TV, and internet. In conclusion, the study expresses the fact that motivation to become informed rather than difficulty to process the information is the problem. It also supports the theory of both the media optimist and the pessimist. Huge amounts of political knowledge or huge amounts of distractions, and that one's media content preference is the key to determining what path our society will take. I agree with Pryor that the mass media has created a world where people have become uninterested in politics because the alternative is so easy and appetizing. But is it the media's fault in the first place? What causes people to choose entertainment over news? Could it be the news is failing to do its job correctly? And what of the other side, the people who choose to watch the news? Are our future senators, representatives, and lawmakers being informed in a way to promote democracy and innovation, or are they fed something else? Something to promote complacency?